Antonio starts right now.
Overnight, the Senate delivering a bipartisan guns deal, but it comes just hours after gun safety advocates have a stinging defeat at the Supreme Court. I'm Jay O'Brien in Washington. That story coming up.
And taking a look outside with live cam this morning, starting at 78 degrees. And guess what? We hit the triple digits yesterday, and we are probably expecting that again this weekend.
Good morning. It is Friday, June 24th, and guess what?
It's Friday.
It's a girl show.
Yes, and also excited about this Friday. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you.
I mean, you're here, but now you're here.
I'm like here, and Steph's also here. So this is exciting. I'm gonna tell you right now, Mike, it's gonna be like a girl slumber party. Lots of giggles.
You should see Mike's face right now.
Doing nails and all that stuff.
Yeah, you know.
We came prepared.
So,
what polish do you want?
Just clear, that's fine. So anyway,
Very good.
Anyway. Wow, what a way to start a Friday. We've got, we're talking about anything to forget about the heat. 101 yesterday. We are going to be well up into the triple digits again today as well as over the weekend. And remember yesterday it was a little more pleasant when we step outside? Well, guess what? That has changed. Mid-upper 70s around here. And these numbers have gone back up somewhat. Dew points were down around mid-60s or so yesterday. And now we've got a little bit more humidity out there. So you'll definitely notice it, and the heat index right now is 82 degrees in town. Canyon Lake at 82, 81 in Castroville, and later on today, it's going to be another sizzler. Now, mold did drop down a little bit from the previous day's reading, and read it and weep, or read it and sweat, whichever. 92 at noon, 101 for high temperature. Good news is the changes, the rain, the chances of rain and lower temperatures are one day closer, just around the corner. We just got to hang in there for a couple of more days. More on the weekend. And those rain chances coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Mike. New this morning, the Senate passing a bipartisan bill which includes new gun restrictions and billions of dollars in funding for school security and mental health. This comes 1 month after the school shooting in Uvalde.
It is the first compromise gun legislation of the chamber in decades. ABC's Jay O'Brien has more from Washington.
Overnight, the Senate breaking decades of partisan gridlock, passing a compromise safety bill.
It doesn't do everything I want, but what we are doing will save thousands of lives.
The $13 billion includes enhanced background checks for anyone under the age of 21 buying a gun, closes the so-called boyfriend loophole, preventing people convicted of domestic violence from owning guns, and provides federal funding for gun violence prevention programs, school security, and mental health.
The yeas are 65. The nays are 33. The motion to concur with an amendment is agreed to.
More than a dozen Senate Republicans joining Democrats in passing the bill. The legislation now headed to the House for an expected vote today, spurred by calls for action after recent mass shootings in Buffalo and Uvalde. But hours earlier in Washington, the Supreme Court delivering a stinging defeat for gun safety advocates. In a landmark 6-3 decision, the justices striking down New York's century-old gun law, which required anyone seeking a license to carry a concealed handgun show they have a special need for it. Justice Clarence Thomas saying that violates the Second Amendment. Writing for the majority, we know of no other constitutional right that an individual may exercise only after demonstrating to government officers some special need. The court's decision divided between its 6 conservatives and 3 liberals. In his dissent, Justice Stephen Breyer noting the nearly 300 mass shootings so far this year, warning the court's decision could have potentially deadly consequences. New York lawmakers swiftly denouncing the ruling.
This decision isn't just reckless, it's reprehensible. It's not what New Yorkers want.
The NRA calls this a landmark win for Second Amendment rights. This decision could impact 7 other states that have gun laws similar to New York's. Those states, including New York, are home to 80 million Americans. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
A San Antonio man accused of beating another man is now charged with murder. Police say 31-year-old Jeremy Behi beat 36-year-old Michael Adon late last month. Adon died of a head injury several days later, and police said Behi attacked Adon for disciplining Behi's underage son, who was allegedly attacking his own mother. He's now being held in the Bexar County Jail on a $150,000 bond. A year ago, in the middle of the night, a 12-story oceanfront condo building in Surfside, Florida, came down with a thunderous roar. It left behind a giant pile of rubble and claimed 98 lives in one of the deadliest collapses in U.S. history. That disaster turned into the largest emergency response that didn't involve a hurricane in Florida history. A judge gave final approval yesterday to a settlement topping $1 billion for victims. Those victims are being honored today.
With the Supreme Court poised to make dramatic changes in national law this month, a new Gallup poll shows a record low number of Americans have confidence in the high Supreme Court. 25% say they have a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in the justices. That's down 11% from this time last year. The poll was taken after the leaking and publication of a draft Supreme Court opinion that would strike down Roe versus Wade. That decision is among the last few expected to be released in the next coming days. It's 4:35 and 78 degrees.
In protecting your money, what you need to know if you use popular apps like Venmo or Zelle.
And next, a look at the newest members of the San Antonio Spurs following the NBA draft last night.
And a quick look at the roads with TransGuide, looking over at Loop 410 in Fredericksburg and also at Loop 410 and Marbuck Road. It looks like a portion of it is closed due to a Saws water main break. We'll be checking in with Stephen Cavazos very soon.
78 degrees. Mike says it's a tad bit more humid today. So excited about that. It's going to be another hot one. We'll have a full forecast when we come back.
Here you go, Pop. Here's Jeremy.
Hello, Coach. How we doing? Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
What an exciting time. That's Jeremy Sohan's first conversation with five-time NBA champion head coach Greg Popovich after the Spurs used their highest pick since Tim Duncan to select the Baylor freshman with the 9th overall pick in the NBA. And born in Oklahoma, but spent most of his life in England before playing for the Baylor Bears. Standing at 6'9" and 230 pounds, Sohan worked out for the Spurs before he was selected. He was on the all Big 12 freshman team this past season, averaging 9.2 points and 6.4 rebounds, and was named the Big 12 Sixth Man of the Year to go along with his 7-foot wingspan for defense. And with the 20th overall pick, the Spurs selected guard Malik Brenham out of Ohio State. The Big 12 freshman of the year averaged 13.7 points, 2 assists, and 3.6 rebounds. And with their final pick in the first round, at number 25 overall, the Spurs grabbed up another freshman out of Notre Dame. This one, guard Blake Wesley. He stands at 6'5", 185 pounds, averaging 14.4 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, and 2.4 assists with speed off the dribble. And now to the number 1 draft pick.
With the first pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Paolo Banchero from Duke University.
That was a surprise right out of the gate last night. Instead of Jabari Smith, it's Duke Paolo Banchero as the overall number 1 selection by the Orlando Magic. That's after a number of media organizations reported that Smith, who played for Auburn, was increasingly a firm number 1. Well, he is in shock because Chet Holmgren of Gonzaga went number 2 to Oklahoma City, with Smith actually dropping to number 3 and going to Houston. And a look who's headed out to the 40 acres. Arch Manning has announced he is committed to Texas as the number 1 recruit in the nation of the class of 2023. He is the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning and the grandson of Archie Manning, and is already thrown for over 5,700 yards and 72 touchdowns in his first 3 seasons in high school. This is a huge get for Texas, who is coming off a 5-7 season. That's a little pressure, being the nephew.
But he's already good.
I mean,
so
it's probably genetics,
well, and a lot to too.
Yeah.
But so, we hope for the best, definitely.
Well, good luck to your Longhorn stuff.
Thank you, Sarah. We need it. Time now, 4:42 and 77 degrees for now.
Well, still ahead, we show you some of the best ways to protect your money if you use cash apps like Venmo or PayPal.
United Airlines is cutting about 50 flights a day out of the Newark, New Jersey airport to help reduce delays this summer. ABC's Gio Benitez has the details in today's GMA First Look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, with 1 week until July 4th weekend, it's the question on every traveler's mind. Will your flight be delayed or canceled?
Demand is as high as anybody in the industry has ever seen.
United Airlines now saying it will cut 50 flights a day from its busy hub at Newark Airport, 12% of its flights, after a messy few weeks. But travelers are feeling the pain. Jason Cooper says it took him about 24 hours to get to Seattle.
It's complete chaos and flying out of Newark. I mean, everything was delayed. Everything was chaos, even at the hotel.
Airline employees across the industry are sharing their frustration, too. Southwest pilots protesting this week in Dallas to raise awareness on the pilot shortage, fatigue, and stress. And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have the expert tips to help you avoid potential travel chaos before it takes off. With your GMA First Look, I'm Gio Benitez, ABC News, New York.
So today, a lot of people use apps like Venmo, PayPal, and Zelle that give the convenience of using your money just right on your phone.
But what happens? What if something goes wrong? 12 on your side's Marilyn Morris explains how to protect your money.
Once you've sent it, you've spent it. That's what many electronic payment apps tell their users. They are convenient, but Consumer Reports warns the lack of protections can make them attractive to scammers and risky for you.
The main risk in using a P2P app is that you have no recourse in getting your money back if you send money to a scammer or to the wrong person, or if you send the wrong amount because of a typo.
Last year alone, there were more than 70,000 fraud reports and $130 million lost. Mobile payment apps are under fire from consumer advocates demanding protection from fraud and user mistakes. For now, here is one way to protect your payments.
Link your credit card to the app and fund your payments through the credit card.
That way you could get the same purchase protections that your credit card offers. It might not be free, though. Many apps charge about 3% when you use a credit card. If you want to keep your payment app linked to your bank account, a word of caution.
If you are going to be using your P2P account for things like sending money to people you don't know, you really have to be very careful because you have no way, if something goes wrong, to get that money back. And that could be very costly.
Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, and Zelle all say keeping users informed and protecting them from fraud are top priorities. To see which apps you can link to a credit card and exactly how to do that, just head to our website. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
And a quick look at the road. Trans Guide looking over at 35 at Main. But we also have a note from Stephen that the frontage road at Loop 410 between the Alamo Draft House and Marbuck Road, including the exit to Marbuck Road, is closed right now. There you go, due to a SAWS water main break. So we'll be getting the latest from him.
And Mike, day 19 of triple-digit heat.
Yeah, it's
a lot.
We'll just get this out of the way early.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Hit 101 yesterday. We're going to rack it up again today, tomorrow. So when the weekend's over, we should be looking at 22 days so far this year, because we're going to be hitting triple digits the next few days. And of course, going back in time, well, 2009, 59 days. Now, just because we've hit 19 already does not mean we will necessarily get up in the top three. I'm trying to be as optimistic as I can with that. And we do have some pretty big changes coming in here to start off next week. So mostly clear skies right now. We do have some more humidity compared to yesterday morning. Of course, yesterday, the dew points had dropped about 5, 6, 7 degrees or so compared to the previous day. Well, we just negated that and we went back up about 5 degrees here in town with the dew point temperature, the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. So yes, it is more humid when you step outside, and we'll have a lot of clear skies this morning. 1 or 2 little clouds out there. We make it up through the 70s. The 80s, and already by 10 o'clock we're going to be at the 85 degrees, 92 at noon. The normal average high temperature is 93. So just kind of put that in perspective. And then we just continue to go up from there, going for 101 for a high temperature later on today with plenty of sunshine and even hotter over the weekend. The good news is, or the one little bit of salvation, is the fact that, yes, dew points, the moisture in the atmosphere, humidity will drop down in the afternoon. So if you're in the shade, a little bit more comfortable. Comes up again tomorrow morning. We go through the same process then tomorrow afternoon. Okay. First of all, as far as heat index, yeah, it's not going to be just outrageous today. So that's a little bit, like I said, of salvation with this going on here. Let's jump ahead into Monday. And now, again, long-range computer model, broad brush, but good indication that we will have a few showers, maybe even a stray thunderstorm around here. Won't rain constantly, won't rain everywhere, but as there's actually a cool front, which is lying in the area. So that's going to be the focal point for some of these showers around here Tuesday morning, and then going through the day on Tuesday, off and on, some showers, a couple of thunderstorms Tuesday night, even into Wednesday, a couple of them left over, and maybe even on into Thursday. So this is an encouraging forecast. Obviously a lot more clouds around here. That combined with that front sort of lying in the vicinity is going to keep temperatures down as well. So got to make it through the next couple of days. 92, mostly sunny skies today at noon, and a high temperature today is going to make it up to 101. That's just hard to say even. So, and then even harder to say tomorrow, 102. Same thing on Sunday, and then look at that, some rain chances here. I've kind of bumped it up a little bit on Tuesday. It's looking a bit more promising for some rain Tuesday, and we may be struggling. A lot of computer models looking at this, struggling to get out of the 80s. So upper 80s for a high temperature on Tuesday.
Well, no complaints here.
No, I mean, I'm complaining about this weekend, but
yeah. So
next week looks fun.
It's just like hang in there.
Yeah.
You know, it's so
Home
close
stretch.
yet, but yeah, at least there's a little bit of an end in sight.
Yeah. I think it's good news.
Oh, it's fantastic news.
Yeah.
Yes. Just hang in there this weekend.
We will.
Thank you, Mike. All right, it is 4:51 and 77 degrees.
And coming up next, Chris Pratt talks about his new role as executive producer of a special series.
All right, Heidi Klum, she's already getting ready for Halloween. Plus, actor Chris Pratt is now an executive producer.
For the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Alex Stone.
Yes, it is only June, but Heidi Klum is looking ahead to Halloween. The model and America's Got Talent judge is known for her over-the-top Halloween parties and elaborate costumes, announcing on Instagram that she's already prepping for this year, nearly 5 months ahead of time. It's been a while since she hosted her annual party. The bash was called off for 2 years because of the pandemic. Klum didn't say what she'll be dressed up as this October 31st.
If I'm right, we need to act on this.
Actor Chris Pratt is also the executive producer and star of The Terminal List, a new series about a former Navy SEAL officer who investigates why his entire platoon was ambushed during a high-stakes covert mission. And as EP, Pratt got to hire actors for the project, casting his brother-in-law, Patrick Schwarzenegger. Pratt says it didn't matter to him that Patrick is his wife's brother, calling him perfect for the role.
I love the guy, and I would have absolutely cast him had I not even known him.
And celebrating birthdays today, actress and writer Mindy Kaling turns 43, and Beyonce's sister, singer-songwriter Solange Knowles is 36. That's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Alex Stone, ABC News in Los Angeles.
And time now, 4:56 and 77 degrees for now.
Well, still ahead, a 10-year-old survivor of the Robb Elementary School shooting is sharing her story of the day that changed her life forever.
Plus, Facebook's parent company is shutting down a tool that tracks inaccurate information. That's coming up in Tech Bites.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Making headlines this morning, Uvalde victims plead with state lawmakers to strengthen gun laws and improve school security.
And more drama at the latest January 6th Capitol attack hearings as lawmakers detail Donald Trump's effort to corrupt the Justice Department.
Mike says we have officially had 19 days of triple-digit heat. Will we see another triple-digit today? Mike will let us know in just a bit. Good morning. It's Friday, June 24th, and it's a girl show.
That's right. Thanks for joining us. We're going to have lots of fun this morning. We're going to bake cookies. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, I was like, we're baking cookies?
No, we're not. Mike was really excited about that, weren't you?
Mike's face just lit up.
Yeah, you said cookies?
Sure, donuts, anything like that. So
maybe popsicles today.
Do what?
Maybe popsicles.
Yes, that's a really good idea. Just get a bunch of them and then just, put them in a bathtub and sit in there. That's the best way to kind of beat this heat. Yeah, it's unfortunately, it is more humid this morning than what it was yesterday. That bottom number did go up. That was right around mid 60s yesterday, so it was slightly more comfortable. But yeah, more humidity out there, 78 degrees, which means we've got somewhat of a heat index to deal with. And yes, we are going to continue to chalk up more triple digits. 101 today. We hit that yesterday. And hate to say it, it's going to be even hotter this weekend. The aquifer took another big hit yesterday, down half a foot. And of course, check with your local municipality as far as any water restrictions where you are, because they differ all over the place. And mold is on the low side. Talking about heat index, yeah, so 78 degrees. Take a look at the graph. Feels like 80 right now. And 82 up the road at Canyon Lake, 81 Castroville. Now, we are going to have not much of a heat index later on this afternoon, so that's one little bit of salvation, because we will go through that the usual daily cycle of lower humidity in the afternoon. So the 101 is just going to feel like about 101 if you're in the shade. Humidity is up this morning, and then later on this afternoon, yeah, 101, mostly sunny skies. It's going to be hotter this weekend, so we will rack up, when it's all said and done, about 22 days so far this year as far as triple-digit temperatures. However, the end, at least with this heat wave, is in sight. Coming up here next week, we do have some decent rain chances once again. And yeah, I'm using the word cooler temperatures when we're going to be anywhere from 10 to almost 15 degrees lower for high temperatures than what we are going to be seeing this weekend. So that's some really good news. Details coming up in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, Stephen Cavazos. Good morning, sir. What's up?
Happy Friday, Mike. Let's get a look here at 410 at Marbach. This is a scene that we told you about earlier, where we had a Saws water main break. Now, you can see that there are crews there along the frontage road. Just checking the TxDOT Twitter page, this was reported at least 10 hours ago. So crews have been out there for quite some time, and you can see we're not really looking at much progress out there. But some of that water spilling onto the frontage road. You got to be careful out there, because this is a closure that we're also looking at along the frontage road of 410. Now, Seth was pointing out this is near between Alamos, Draft House, Cinema, Westlakes, and Marbach Road. But keep in mind that exit to Marbach is also going to be closed along the southbound lanes of 410. So that is why we're not really seeing so much of a buildup this early in the morning. But keep in mind, if crews are still out there, as the morning does get going and more people get out there, we'll probably start to see a lot of yellow and red build up. But for now, things are pretty quiet as we get a wide look at the metro area. Lots of those active construction zones, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. But also want to point out, notice some debris coming into work on I-10 in those eastbound lanes near Vance Jackson. So drivers, stay alert if you're heading into the downtown San Antonio area. But for now, if your travel times are going to take you right here to the Alamo City, we are looking at some green across the board here, because Bernie, on those I-10 eastbound lanes, a 24-minute drive time at this hour, 27 on 281 southbound and Bulverde, and a 26-minute drive time on I-35 southbound heading in from New Braunfels. But bringing it back here to 410 at Marbach, we'll watch this area closely and hopefully have a better update before the show wraps up. Steph, Sarah?
Thank you, Stephen. Now to that late breaking news. San Antonio police are working a deadly shooting on the city's west side right now.
Katrina Weber is live in the 300 block of South Daudio with the latest. Katrina.
Well, good morning. Police have a lot of unanswered questions here this morning, trying to figure out who this man is and if he lives here in this area. They've been working here behind me. This is the 300 block of South San Dario. We're not far from West Commerce and South General McMullen. Now, the area where you see police standing there, they have several shell casings on the ground here in the middle of the street. They also have found a man just beyond that first police car. He is slumped over, they say, outside a fence near a home. This is where they found him after 3:30 this morning. Neighbors called police after they heard gunshots in the area. One of the neighbors also looked out and saw the man on the ground. Police and paramedics got here. They determined that he was dead. He had multiple gunshot wounds in his upper body. That's what they told me. And he also appears to be in his 40s. Now, beyond that, they don't have a whole lot of information. They are trying to collect it as we speak. Again, they say they don't know if that man is someone who lives in this neighborhood or not. They have not identified him. And they are trying to figure out exactly what happened here and who shot him. Reporting live on the west side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. New this morning, a new gun reform measure is moving forward a month after the horrific shooting in Uvalde where 19 students and 2 teachers were shot and killed.
Jonathan Cotto joins us live this morning. And Jonathan, what's the latest on that?
Good morning. Well, we know Senator John Cornyn's Bipartisan Safer Communities Act has passed, but not everyone is exactly on board. We know Senator Ted Cruz voted against the new gun reform measure, calling it a misguided attempt. Now, he says this new gun reform measure will not work and will not prevent more crimes, and it will not allow people to defend themselves and their families. Now, it's important to say that the new measure will keep firearms from more domestic violence offenders and help state enforce existing red flag laws. It would also toughen background checks for the youngest gun buyers. Cornyn says the legislation will protect our schools, protect our communities, and safeguard the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. Now, it's important to note that Texas does not have a red flag law. Now, the bill will go over to the House for a vote before it can head over to the president's desk. Reporting live, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Jonathan. A 10-year-old survivor of the Robb Elementary School shooting is sharing her story of the day that changed her life forever.
Is it hard to remember everything that happened that day?
Yeah, because I don't want to remember what happened, so I try to forget it.
Aurelia Santos was on the playground for an early recess on May 24th when suddenly they were told to run inside. She says the shooter crashed a truck and shot at them before they ran inside. Santos and her classmates hid in a classroom trying to stay quiet. Once they were evacuated out of the school and reunited with their families, she learned with the rest of the world that 19 of her classmates and 2 teachers were killed that day, including her best friend, Anne-Marie Jo Garza.
I went to Anne-Marie's viewing and her casket was closed, so I know something bad must have happened.
Santos says she is upset with the police about their response, saying they should have done something to save her friends. Now to that former Justice Department official accused of trying to help President Trump overturn the 2020 election.
Jeffrey Clark was the subject of yesterday's January 6th committee hearing. ABC's Jay O'Brien has the details.
This morning, a former Department of Justice official is lashing out at the FBI after agents raided his home. Jeffrey Clark says he answered the door in his pajamas when FBI agents came to his Virginia home around 7 a.m. Wednesday.
They swept the house. Eventually, they let me go back inside and put the pants on.
It's unclear what they were looking for. Clark says the agents took electronic devices. Clark was in charge of the Justice Department's Environmental Division under former President Trump. Just as word of the raid on his home surfaced yesterday, the January 6th committee revealed evidence claiming Clark was at the center of an effort by Trump to get the Justice Department to falsely claim there was voter fraud during the 2020 election. The committee showed a letter Clark drafted to the state of Georgia.
This letter claims that the U.S. Department of Justice's investigations have, quote, identified significant concerns that may have impacted the outcome of the election in multiple states, including the state of Georgia.
3 days before the attack, witnesses of an Oval Office meeting say Trump proposed making Clark the head of the Justice Department after Clark said he would help Trump reverse the election results. But Trump didn't go through with it because others in the department threatened to resign. The committee also named 6 Republican members of Congress who say they asked for presidential pardons, including Congressman Matt Gaetz, Mo Brooks, Louis Gohmert, Andy Biggs, and Scott Perry.
The only reason I know to ask for a pardon is because you think you've committed a crime.
And last night, the chair of the January 6th committee saying he can prove those pardon requests were made. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
It's 5:09 and 77 degrees.
And still ahead, why Meta plans to shut down a tool that's used to track misinformation online.
And up next, concerned people living on San Antonio's North Side expressed their concerns about crime in a special meeting last night. We'll have reaction from Police Chief William McManus.
And taking a look outside with live cam, 77 degrees for now. It will get hot this afternoon, but Mike says we just need to bear and grin and just wait past the weekend and maybe some relief there. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Property crimes, burglaries, domestic violence, and violent crimes.
Those are just some of the long list of concerns that residents on the north side have right now.
Why is this level of crime? This is a scandalous level of crime.
Susie Bain says she is concerned about crimes against women in the community. About 100 taxpayers attended the Crime on the North Side meeting last night. San Antonio's police chief talked about the challenges his officers face when they deal with panhandlers and criminals that are released on low bonds.
Based on call load, it'll also determine the number of investigators that we would need, not just based on caseload, but on time spent in each investigation.
City leaders are saying the solution is not more policing or more laws. It's a combination of many resources being pulled together to make a safer community, including mental health.
Time now, 5:13 and 77 degrees.
And still ahead, Instagram is showing off new age verification options that includes a tool that scans your face.
And we'll tell you who is now the most watched TikTok star in the world.
Trilogy for COPD.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a
COPD may have gotten you here, but you decide what's next. Start a new day with Trilogy. No once-daily COPD medicine has the power to treat COPD in as many ways as Trilogy. With 3 medicines in 1 inhaler, Trilogy helps people breathe easier and improves lung function. It also helps prevent future flare-ups. Trilogy won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Do not take Trilogy more than prescribed. Trilogy may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur. Take a stand and start a new day with Trilogy. Ask your doctor about once daily Trilogy and save at Trilogy.com.
Meta is reportedly pulling support for a tool used to monitor misinformation online. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the details in today's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, news of Facebook's parent company ditching a misinformation tracker. Bloomberg says Meta plans to dump CrowdTangle. The tool has been used to find misinformation on social media. The report says it will be available at least through November's midterms. Instagram is testing an age verification feature with the help of artificial intelligence to distinguish minors from adults. Users would send a video selfie to a third-party company that can estimate their age through facial signals. Finally, TikTok's new top star. He's 22-year-old creator Kaby Lamy, who was born in Senegal but is currently based in Italy. Lamy is now the most followed TikToker with over 143 million followers. He took over the top spot from American Charli D'Amelio, dropping her to second. Now, Lamy doesn't even speak in his videos, but with 143 million followers, money talks. Those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day.
He's like modern day Chaplin.
Yes, yeah, a lot of fun.
Very entertaining. Are you on TikTok?
No, but I want to check this guy out.
Yeah, we'll have to look at the videos during the break.
I think so. Let's go ahead and check in with Steven. Have you seen this guy?
I don't even know how to use TikTok. I'm not on the talk, but I'm on the gram.
Oh, there you go. Well,
Yes.
maybe some of those that, get pulled over to there as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to hop on there and figure it out. But drivers, you're going to have to figure out your commute this morning, because if you're traveling along 410 in the southbound lanes, you might want to look for a different travel route, because 410 at Marbach, that access road is still closed off due to a SAWS water main break. Now, TxDOT tweeted this about maybe 11 hours ago or so. You can see their crews are still working to get this situation cleared up, but it is taking some time. So pack that patience this morning. But let's just take you right to where it's happening, because it's off Loop 410, the southbound frontage roads between Alamo Drafthouse Cinema West Lakes and Marbach Road. Now, keep in mind that exit to Marbach Road along 410 southbound is closed off, so crews can get that work done. So give them some time, and give yourself time if you have to travel through there. But also not too far from there, Loop 410 northbound near State Highway 151 detecting a stall, and it looks like a crash may have popped up along 151. We'll have to find out how that's impacting the drive time. But elsewhere, not a whole lot else to talk about, just some of those active construction spots. So let's get get to one of those that's going to be taking place tomorrow. Some wall work off 281 on the north side of San Antonio will begin tomorrow at 9 in the morning and wrap around 3 in the afternoon. During that time, it's going to be a single southbound lane closure at the Borgfield Road intersection. So grab those phones, open your camera app, and scan this QR code. This is going to be helpful for anybody that has to commute overnight or maybe throughout the weekend. It has the latest list of closures taking place in your area and anything else that could be impacting your drive time. And right now, I would say that would probably be here at 410 at Marbach. So just pack that patience again.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Oh, Mike, I saw this on. I tried to look at it this morning. I couldn't, some of my trees and stuff were blocking it, but this is really cool.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's too much in the way of light here in town to block it out, but a phenomenon's taking place right now. So head outside and look off to the east, and this is going to be within about the next half an hour or so when Mercury finally rises here. But the 5 visible planets are going to be all lined up. The moon is kind of standing in for the Earth right in between Venus and Mars, but in order, which is somewhat of a rarity. And I just read that this is not going to happen again until 2040. So all 5 planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, the ones that are visible. Saturn, you may need some binoculars to see that, but it is visible without a really, really powerful telescope. So take a look off to the east this morning. We do have some clear skies right now. I've got this camera pointed kind of so there's a big post in the way right there, but I'm not seeing anything from this camera as far as even the crescent moon out there. But head outside and take a look off to the east, and especially in about the next within the next now till the next half hour, I should say. All right, heat index right now 80 Canyon Lake, 80 at the airport, 81 at Castroville, and throughout the day we, like I said, are going to have fair amount of clear skies this morning, so stargazing should be okay, and especially if you are away from the city lights, it's going to be beautiful, beautiful to see. And by the way, if you take a picture of it, please send it to KSAT Connect. 78 at 8 o'clock this morning, and then we'll get up through the 80s throughout the morning hours. 92 at noon. The normal average high temperature is 93. Just to put that in perspective, and then add another 9 degrees to that, and we're going to make it up to 101 later on today. The record is 102, so we're going to be close to that today. All right, jump ahead to the future. I mean, it's going to be blazing hot this weekend. Then Monday, we do have the chance for some rain, and there is, like I've been saying, there's that front which is lying in the area. This is going to be the focal point for some of these showers. It won't rain constantly. Not everybody's going to see a whole bunch of rain. It won't be necessarily a drought breaker, but this is going to be just a very, very welcome sight with some of this rain even into Tuesday. And I think the best chance of rain is going to be during the day on Tuesday into the evening hours, then even extending into Wednesday. Some scattered showers around here, and a couple of them scattered about and left over early on Thursday. Now, quick check of the tropics. Nothing going on right now in the immediate vicinity. However, Hurricane Center is watching this batch of clouds way over in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Said there's about a 10% chance that it could develop into something over the next couple of days, and perhaps a 40% chance that it would develop in the next 4 to 5 days. The path right now takes it straight to the west, and where it goes from there is kind of a wait and see situation. So the forecast today is going to be very, very hot, 92 at noon, and then a high temperature today makes it up to 101. Mostly sunny skies, and it gets even hotter this weekend. 102s both tomorrow as well as on Sunday. At least the humidity is not going to be just outrageously high. Then we have those rain chances coming in here next week. I'm going for 30% chance for some showers later in the day on Monday, and even 40, almost 50% chance Tuesday. And the other thing with Tuesday is we're going to be hard pressed to get out of the 80s for a high temperature. So we're going to see almost a 15-degree difference in high temperatures, 14 degrees from Sunday to Tuesday.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We're going to be like, oh, it's 94 degrees. It's so cool outside.
It's winter time.
I'm going to need a light sweater this morning.
It just seems like the past couple of days going outside is just like,
it's relentless.
Literally walking into the oven. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's 5:24 and 77 degrees.
And coming up next in your morning spotlight, Olivia DeJonge talks about playing Priscilla Presley, plus a look at a documentary on curing type 1 diabetes.
So how do you prepare to play the wife of a music icon?
CNN's David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
Well, I give you everything you could want.
What I want is a husband. I am your wife. I am your wife. Olivia DeJong says she immersed herself in the era and the character to play Priscilla Presley in Elvis.
I first read her book, and then I read it again, and then I read it again, and then I read it again. And then I watched heaps of interviews, and I worked a lot with Polly Bennett, our movement coach.
Elvis opens in theaters this weekend.
And I just keep my mind set.
Lit and No Doubt's Adrian Young get loud with Mouth Shut, the latest single off Lit's latest album, Tastes Like Gold. The California Rockers are currently on a U.S. tour. Info and tickets at litband.com/tour.
When you're doing clinical research, there's always the first patient.
Lauren. Hi. Nice to meet you. I have some extreme lows, which cause me to have seizures.
I'm going blind.
The Human Trial looks at the search for a cure for type 1 diabetes. The documentary follows years of triumphs and setbacks in the lab and 2 self-described guinea pigs at the center of a clinical trial. The Human Trial is now playing in theaters and on demand. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
It's 528 and 77 degrees.
And still ahead on GMSA, a Senate-approved gun bill is on the fast track to become law. We're going to tell you what's next for lawmakers.
And could Tesla be going bankrupt? Why Elon Musk is worried about a Tesla plant here in Texas.
And it's hot outside, so how about some ketchup-flavored ice pops? Ew!
So gross.
We'll tell you where you can find some.
Making headlines this morning, an important gun bill passes through the Senate. Now it's up to the House to keep it going.
And taking a look outside with live cam, humid for now and hot this weekend, but we are looking forward to a little bit of relief next week.
Good morning. It is Friday. It is June 24th, and I'm happy to be on the desk this morning with Stephanie.
We're happy to have you. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday. Ladies in the house this Friday.
And we are excited.
Featuring Mike and Steven.
Yes, of course. Mike and Steven as well.
We're like the backup dancers, you know, something like that.
I love that.
Hey, head outside right now and look off to the east. I just went in our back parking lot. I could not see Mercury. I think it was just below one of the buildings behind us there. But you can see Venus very clearly, obviously the moon, the crescent moon, and Mars is kind of faint in between the moon and Jupiter. And Jupiter is very, very bright. I was not able to see Saturn, but if you have especially a pair of binoculars, you may be able to see that. And this is going to be taking place over the next roughly half an hour or so off to the east. This will not happen again with the planets all lined up in order and moon kind of standing in for Earth right in between Venus and Mars. Won't happen again for another 18 years until 2040. So take a look off to the east right now. We do have some clear skies. Been trying to find it with some of our city cam cameras. I don't think they tilt up high enough, and of course posts are in the way as well, blocking this. But again, take a look off to the east right now. And then come back into the air conditioning because it's warm and it's humid out there. As a matter of fact, dew point temperatures did go up compared to yesterday. They're up about 5-6 degrees. We had that somewhat of a break yesterday, but back to the humidity. So somewhat of a heat index this morning, 80 at the airport, Canyon Lake, and 79 right now in Castroville. And then add roughly 20 to where we are right now, 22 degrees or so. Mold on the low side, and yeah, it's going to be a hot one. 101 for a high temperature today. Same as yesterday. At least the humidity just won't be outrageously high, and it's going to be even hotter this weekend. However, the changes, the good rain chances, the lower temperatures are one day closer. Next week, we're going to get that all sorted out in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, Stephen, what's going on?
Hey, good morning, Mike. Well, we've been keeping an eye on 410 because we have a few issues out there, but let's get a quick look around town. I-10 at Callahan. Be on the lookout. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. For anyone that is waking up, if you're traveling in those eastbound lanes, you'll likely see some debris out there. I encountered that myself traveling into work this morning. But 281 looks like there's also a stalled vehicle out over there. But elsewhere around town, things look pretty quiet. However, things aren't staying quiet over off 410. Let's take you right there to Marbach, where we do have that water main break that was reported hours ago. Now, crews have been out there for quite a while to get this cleared up. But keep in mind, it's along the southbound frontage road, and the exit to Marbach Road is also going to be closed at this time as crews are working to clear all of this up. But it is taking some time. We have noticed that there is still some water along the frontage road as well. So just keep that in mind if you have to head out in that direction in the next few moments. Hopefully, hopefully we will have a better update before the show wraps up. Not too far from there, a stall also off Loop 410 northbound and 151. But let's get that wide look at the map. You can see just some of those active construction spots. And as typical, if the morning stays quiet, we'll be able to break that down for you and give you that information. But right now, the travel times to San Antonio are looking pretty good. 29 minutes on I-10 westbound if you're heading in from Seguin. About a 33-minute drive time on 87 coming in from Lavernia in those northbound lanes, and 28 minutes coming up from Flotusville. So we're not really worried about those travel times, but we have to keep a close eye on what's taking place off Loop 410 southbound near Marbach over on the west side of town. Again, hoping for that better update, but we'll just see and give you those updates right here on GMSA. Sarah, stuff.
Thank you, Stephen. We have an update to late-breaking news. A sound of gunshots this morning has led to even more disturbing discovery for people in a West Side neighborhood. They found a man dead.
San Antonio police have that area roped off right now in the 300 block of South San Dario. Katrina Weber is there with a live report. And Katrina, is this someone who lives there?
Well, that is what police are trying to determine, if this man who they found dead is in fact someone who lives in the area. Right now, they just don't know. They have a lot of questions about what happened here this morning. We have some video to show you going back to, this happened about 3:45 or so. That's when police got the call. They say that a neighbor heard the gunshots, called them, and also looked outside and could see someone down on the ground. Police and paramedics arrived. They determined that that man, who they say appears to be in his 40s, was dead. He had multiple gunshot wounds in his upper body. Police also told us that that person had been on a bicycle prior to the shooting. So again, we don't know if that man who they found dead lives in this neighborhood or what, but police are also trying to figure out who shot him and why. And so that is much of the work that they are doing here right now. They also found multiple gun shell casings, in the middle of the street. And so that's part of the evidence that they are collecting here right now. Reporting live on the west side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. New this morning, San Antonio police say a woman is in the hospital following a head-on collision on the city's northwest side. Happening overnight, it happened just after 11 in the 5200 block of De Zavala near Vance Jackson. SAPD says the woman was driving her vehicle when she crashed head-on to another car in a turn lane on De Zavala. Police say a man driving the second car initially got out and ran off, ditched a weapon and cash allegedly, and walked back to the scene. Officers assessed him for a possible DWI. Charges are pending right now. Meanwhile, the woman was taken to the hospital with a broken leg. And for the first time in years, gun law reform appears to be happening in the U.S. The House is expected to pass a bipartisan safety bill as early as this morning.
That's after the Senate approved it late last night. CNN's Amy Kiley has more.
The country's first major gun safety legislation in years could be ready for the president's signature as early as this weekend. The House showing support for it, the Senate passing the bill late last night.
The motion to concur with an amendment is agreed to.
15 of those 65 yay votes were Republicans, moved to break ranks on this controversial issue.
The kids were probably lying there, just thinking where their parents were.
A desire to protect children apparently spurring this bipartisan effort.
Making America safer, especially for kids in school, without making our country one bit less free.
When the president went to Uvalde, when he went to Buffalo with the First Lady, those are trips that he does not want to do again.
The legislation provides money to improve school safety programs. It also funds red flag laws. Those let courts keep firearms from people deemed a risk to themselves or others. The bill makes sure dating partners can't have guns if they have a history of violence within a relationship. It also addresses background checks, mental health, and more.
Democrats and Republicans can come together to solve the most significant problem that any family faces, which is keeping their kids safe.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And tense moments in a Cincinnati courtroom. Video shows a father attacking his son's accused killer during court proceedings yesterday. Antonio Hughes lunged at a defendant, Deshaun Brown, and punched him repeatedly. Officers subdued Hughes, but he attacked again once he was on his feet. He was removed from court, charged with contempt, and ordered to serve 7 days in jail. Hughes was the father of 3-year-old Nilo Lattimore. Prosecutors say in 2020, Brown murdered Nilo's mother, Nitisha, and put Nilo into the Ohio River while he was still alive. Brown faces charges including 2 counts of murder.
Elon Musk says he's worried that Tesla could go bankrupt. The company is facing billions of dollars in losses from its new plants, as well as supply chain problems and COVID lockdowns. In a recent interview with a Tesla owners group, Musk mentioned that automakers in general are going bankrupt. He says his concern is figuring out how to keep Tesla factories operating so they can pay people. Musk noted 2 factories, one in Germany, another here in Texas, that are costing the company billions of dollars in losses, blaming supply chain issues.
And here at home, fireworks sales officially start today ahead of the upcoming 4th of July holiday. Bexar County's burn ban does not affect the use of fireworks. However, some high aerial fireworks are banned. That includes skyrockets with sticks or missiles with fins. Fireworks sellers say those will not be available this year. Remember, it is illegal to burn fireworks inside the city limits.
It's 5:40 and 77 degrees.
And if you're in the need to cool off, how about a ketchup ice pop? We're going to tell you about this special collaboration.
No, thank you. 77 degrees. I'll take like a, vanilla strawberry ice pop, especially with this triple-digit heat that Mike says will continue into the weekend. We'll have our forecast when we come back. Obesity, it's a growing epidemic here in the U.S.
Ursula Perry shows us new research shows a drug used to control symptoms of ADHD that may be able to help.
From melting away the fat to helping you lose weight naturally, Americans spend big bucks on dietary supplements. In fact, they dish out more than $2.1 billion a year on weight loss pills. However,
many of those are sort of street dietary supplement for weight control purpose are not scientifically approved.
But what if researchers can pinpoint what makes a weight loss medication effective?
We're trying to figure out the neurological mechanisms, like how they control that in the normal and obesity kind of patients.
A team of researchers in Texas discovered a novel brain circuit that could potentially signal when to stop eating. Through experiments, folks at Baylor were able to find out that a drug called MPH had the ability to activate and regulate this pathway in the brain.
This drug has been FDA approved for many years and is safely used for the ADHD and the narcolepsy, preventative effects.
And now MPH may have the ability to suppress the need to overeat.
The researchers at Baylor are using mice models to experiment with MPH. So far, they've found that it suppresses the appetite and it reduces the body weight of those mice by strengthening the dopamine-driven circuits that they've discovered. Ursula Perry, KSAT 12 News.
It's 5:45 and 77 degrees.
And coming up next, how higher rent prices are causing prices for mobile homes to skyrocket. And welcome back. It's 5:47 in your morning consumer headlines. Inflation and skyrocketing home prices have pushed rents higher, and that's having an impact on mobile homes. Roughly 20 million Americans live in mobile homes, and recent high demand and low supply have increased the cost. According to the Washington Post, average new home prices grew by 22% since the start of the pandemic, and over that same period, mobile home prices have jumped almost 50%.
All right, one of the world's most popular condiments is getting a new gig, this time in the form of a limited edition ketchup-flavored ice pop. It's called a Frenchsicle. Made by French's, it's described as a savory tomato flavor balanced with a hint of salty sweetness. Sad news, though, if you're wanting to try some, you'll have to take a vacation. Oh, darn, so sad. It's only available at a few pop-up locations in Canada, and only for a few days. This isn't French's first trip off the beaten path in past years. The company has also brought us French's mustard ice cream and mustard beer. See, mustard beer sounds, or ice, I don't know, anything. This is gross.
Yeah, it is, because you might, if it was like a common item, you'll reach for it. I'm like, I want a strawberry or watermelon popsicle.
Oh, can you imagine thinking it was like raspberry or something? Yes, Mike.
They said this is not available here. Just take some ketchup, put it in one of those little popsicle molds, stick a stick in there and freeze it.
So do-it-yourself popsicles, with ketchup.
Stephen, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm just glad it's not a mayo.
Oh!
I don't know how that would taste. I don't even know if that would freeze, but you know what?
Science.
Science. We can find out later. But we know traffic looks like it's frozen here off 35 at Kohlenberg Road because we have a pretty serious crash that is causing a nasty commute for drivers north of New Braunfels. You can see we're really not seeing much progress here in terms of the traffic that is moving. It is at a basically at a standstill. Looks like some flashing lights. We are seeing a first responder also getting to the scene there. Let's just get you right to the map because it's not looking pretty there off 35 northbound at Kohlenberg Road. Again, this is just north of New Braunfels, so anybody that needs to head up past that area, keep in mind it's not going to be an easy commute right now. We're going to have to look for some of those alternative routes and as the morning does go on. But let's go ahead and take a drive back in here to town because this Friday is just shaping up to be pretty busy. We still have that water main break here off Loop 410 southbound near Marbach Road. Now keep in mind that exit to Marbach Road along Loop 410 southbound is closed as well. This is along the frontage road, so we are seeing crews out there working to get this situation cleared, but it has at least taken 11 hours at this point. We are counting and hoping that we'll have a better update before the show wraps up. But let's get that wide look at the map. Thankfully, not much else to talk about, but these two situations could lead to some big issues for drivers, but we know this one is already causing a nightmare situation along 35, one of the busier areas, guys, so just pack that patience. We'll see how this shapes up.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad out there. Thank you, Stephen.
Hey, Mike, you said you went outside, and right now, if anyone else steps outside, they can actually see this.
The planets all lined up out there. We got a building in the way. I couldn't see Mercury, which is obviously a little bit lower down closer to the horizon. But if you look at it, and I apologize, can't find it on our live cam looking. I've got these pointed off to the east and I don't think they go up high enough, but if you look at the moon you'll see that, and then down to the lower left of it is Venus right there, and if you got a clear view of right along the horizon you may be able to see Mercury, and then little Mars is kind of faint. Jupiter is very, very bright, and then that's looking obviously off basically to the east, and then you almost have to turn close to 90 degrees, almost pointing to the south, and just follow that line of the planets over there, and you're going to see a really, really faint dot, and I'm pretty sure that is Saturn that is showing up. And again, they are all in a line. It is pretty cool to see. This will not happen in this order, staying in the order that the planets are away from the sun for another 18 years. So head out there right now. I think we've got one of our photogs out there trying to get it on video. I was going to try and get it on my cell phone. It just didn't show up as well. Yeah, this camera is pointed off to the east, and again, I think it's not working out for us with our live cams out there. So, all right, first of all, Saharan dust. We had a little bit of it the past couple of days. Good news is nothing is going to be showing up really today, nor even on into the weekend. So we're not going to be dealing with any of that. So that's one positive, other than the fact that it's going to be just, about 102 degrees this weekend. Temperatures are in the 70s right now. Got a lot of clear skies out there, so we just lucked out as far as being able to view the planets. 92 already at noon, almost up to the normal high temperature, and then 101 for a high later on today with lots of sunshine, maybe a couple of clouds hanging around here and there. Again, going into next week, we're still looking at those rain chances. Again, this does not mean look at this and go, it's going to be raining constantly everywhere. No, that's not going to be the situation, but we do have very good rain chances, at least a lot better than what we've been having. 30, 40, almost 50% chances of rain, especially going into Tuesday, and it does look like that will extend even the rain chances as well as some of the lower temperatures into the middle and even latter part of next week. 92 at noon today, mostly sunny skies. Again, a high temperature up to 101. And even like yesterday, I mean, sometimes the air conditioning in your house just really can't even keep up with that late in the afternoon. Well, that's going to be the situation tomorrow and Sunday, but then we do have those better rain chances. Again, it's not, it won't rain all the time nor constantly, but at least we have lower temperatures, a lot more in the way of clouds, and some of those rain chances. I think the peak of it right now is going to be on Tuesday as far as the chance of rain.
It keeps getting better and better. I mean, next week.
We've had the consistency all week long, ever since, going back to Monday with this coming up here. And yeah, it is, as the models get a better handle on it as we approach it, it's looking better. So still fingers crossed.
Yes, very excited about that.
But take a look off to the east right now.
Thank you, Mike.
Pretty cool.
All right, 5:54 and 76 degrees.
Let's look at your winning lotto numbers. Pick 3, 890, Fireball 2, and Daily 4, 6, 6, 6, 9, Fireball 3.
Ooh. Cash 5, 6, 7, 13, 14, 31. Texas two-step 14, 15, 22, 26, 24.
Coming up on Good Morning America, the latest on the bipartisan gun safety bill. It passed the Senate overnight, but what's next? And this fallout from the Supreme Court ruling expanding gun rights. Also, a runway scare. 2 planes colliding before one took off for Europe. The investigation this morning and what you should know before you travel this summer to avoid a flightmare. The NBA's top draft pick, Paolo Banchero, is here live with us after his life-changing night last night. Plus, we're celebrating Pride with an event like we've never done before here in Times Square. That's coming up right here on GMA.
All right, it's 5:57 and 76 degrees. We still have a lot ahead on GMSA in our next hour. The latest from Surfside, Florida on the 1-year anniversary of that deadly condo collapse. And we'll take you back to San Antonio's west side this morning for that late breaking news where at least one person is dead after a shooting. And Stephen Cavazos will also have all the latest on our traffic. And you can see there at Stephen will have more on that when we come back.
Some changes are coming to Netflix that not everyone is going to be happy about. We're going to explain.
With the 9th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Jeremy Sohan from Milton Keynes, England, and Baylor University.
Exciting time for Spurs fans. They're going to be getting to know some of the new players that are going to be suiting up this season. We'll take a look at the Spurs draft picks from last night's NBA Draft.
And taking a look outside with a live cam. Wow, that's an interesting shot there.
Oh, I think we're trying to see all the planets alignment that Mike has been talking about that's happening right now, but really can't see it with that satellite up. So hopefully we can get a better shot.
Live from KSAT 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning. We've made it to Friday, June 24th. I'm so sorry. I'm so excited to be on the desk.
Well, we're happy you're here.
Thank you, Steph. I'm calling it Female Friday.
Yes, happy Friday. A very exciting time for us. Thank you for joining us. And Mike's been tracking the planets, and I think that's why we saw the image right there.
Yeah, I've been trying to take a couple of cameras, one over by the airport, the other by 410 I-10, and there's a big post in the way or something. I don't know if it's an antenna or whatever. However, one of our viewers just sent a picture.
Oh, great.
CJ Smossel, I believe. Pardon me if I'm messing up your last name there. But here we go. This is the moon. That is Venus. Now, Mercury is down closer to the horizon right now. But then go the other direction. There's Mars, that faint little dot. Jupiter is pretty bright. And this is obviously looking off to the east. And then if you head outside right now and then look almost turn 90 degrees looking just about to the south, just follow this line all the way over and you're going to be able to very, very faintly see Saturn. Now, it's starting to brighten up outside a little bit as the sun's thinking about coming up, so do it now and take a look out there. And hopefully Mercury gets a little bit higher off the horizon so you can see that as well. This will not happen with the planets all lined up in order, and the moon is kind of standing in for Earth right now in order. Won't happen for another 18 years, so go check it out right now. 79 degrees is the heat index. Yeah, your glass is going to fog out when you step outside, I should say. 80 at Canyon Lake. And we do have a light amount of mold in the atmosphere. And throughout the rest of today, we are going to be, well, temperatures pretty much steady, maybe fluctuating a couple of degrees. Mostly clear skies this morning. So, again, we lucked out as far as not having morning clouds to be able to see the planet alignment out there. 92 at noon. Normal high temperature is 93. So, yeah, we're already up to where we should be by noon, and then we top off at 101 just like yesterday. And good news, bad news. Bad news, going to be hotter this weekend. We're looking at 102s, but then good news, we're still looking at decent rain chances and much lower temperatures starting off next week. Details just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, Mr. Cavazos, what's going on?
Unfortunately, Mike, this Friday has been the busiest morning of the week so far, or of the work week, I should say. 35 at Kohlenberg. This is north of New Braunfels, just north of New Braunfels, I should say. You can see traffic is at a standstill, and that's because we have a pretty serious crash that is leading to some pretty serious delays delays out there. Let's take you right to the map because that is detected in the northbound lanes of 35. So anyone that may be traveling up to Austin or San Marcos will encounter that slowdown. We're going to have more updates on some alternative routes a little bit later on, but it is not looking like a good morning. Let's take a drive over here because we have a crash also detected in the westbound lanes of I-10, not far from Woodlake Parkway. So keep in mind, these crashes tend to start leading to some big buildups as more people get out on the roadway, and that is what we'll likely see as first responders are still working to clear these situations up. But we got to take another drive over here back to 410 on the west side of San Antonio, where we had that water main break, where crews still remain on the scene of the frontage road. It's there along Loop 410 southbound, not far from Marbach Road. Keep in mind, Marbach Road is still closed. They have been out there for now 12 hours. This was reported by TxDOT overnight, so we're hoping for some better updates. But as we get a wide look at the map, thankfully, it's still looking more calm than anything else. But if you are traveling into San Antonio, we're not really seeing any delays just yet. 28 minutes on I-37 northbound coming in from Pleasanton. It's going to be about half an hour if you're traveling on Highway 90 in those eastbound lanes, and 17 minutes coming in from 35 northbound and Lytle. But the big problems are going to be right here along 35 at Kohlenberg. Again, we're going to have to watch this area closely and look for those alternative routes. We'll be doing the same here in the traffic lab. Steph, Sarah.
Thank you, Stephen. Now to this morning's late breaking news. The day has started for people in a West Side neighborhood with a deadly shooting. San Antonio police say someone took aim at a man on a bicycle.
Officers found him in the 300 block of South San Dario. That's where our Katrina Weber is live there. Now, Katrina, have police learned anything else about what happened?
They are still at the beginning stages of their investigation. It looks like they have finished collecting all the physical evidence here. There was some shell casings in the street, and they have picked those up as well as the victim's bicycle. Right now, the medical examiner is here collecting the body of that man. Let me give you a look at the video, though, from earlier this morning. Police got the initial call after 3:30 this morning. They say a neighbor reported hearing gunshots and then looked outside and could see the victim on the ground. Police and paramedics arrived here, found the victim on the ground outside the fence of a house, suffering from gunshot wounds to his upper body, and they say that he had died from those wounds when they found him. Now, other than that, police don't have a whole lot of information. The man who was killed, they say, appeared to be in his 40s, and again, he was on a bicycle at the time. Police don't know who shot him or why, and those are the questions that they are hoping to answer as they continue their investigation this morning. Reporting live on the west side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. Another top story this morning. 1 month after the massacre in Uvalde, a new gun reform measure is moving forward. It's the biggest of its kind since 1994.
Jonathan Cotto joins us live. Good morning, Jonathan. Can you tell us the latest?
Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning, Sarah. Well, we know Senator John Cornyn's Bipartisan Safer Communities Act has passed the Senate, but not everyone was exactly on board with this new measure. We know that the new gun reform passed the Senate floor with a vote of 65 to 33, but one notable Republican voted against the new measure, Senator Ted Cruz, who also took to the floor with some of his own proposals that date back to 2013. Now, he says his proposal is a comprehensive effort to dedicate serious resources to schools to make them safer, and added that this new gun reform measure does not work and will not work in preventing crime and allowing people to defend themselves and their families. Now, the new measure will keep firearms from more domestic violence offenders and help states enforce existing red flag laws. It would also toughen background checks for the youngest gun buyers. Now, Cornyn says the legislation will protect our schools and protect our communities and safeguard the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. Now, it's important to note that Texas does not have a red flag law. That's a law that prevents or keeps offenders or those that are deemed dangerous from obtaining weapons. Also, the bill now will head over to the House for a vote before heading over to the president's desk for approval. ABC's Jason J. O'Brien tracking the latest this morning.
Good morning. In the Senate, 15 Republicans joined their Democratic colleagues in voting for this bill, a rare moment of bipartisanship, particularly on the divisive issue of guns.
Overnight, the Senate breaking decades of partisan gridlock, passing a compromise gun safety bill.
It doesn't do everything I want, but what we are doing will save
thousands of lives.
The $13 billion measure includes enhanced background checks for anyone under the age of 21 buying a gun, closes the so-called boyfriend loophole, preventing people convicted of domestic violence from owning guns, and provides federal funding for gun violence prevention programs, school security, and mental health.
The yeas are 65, the nays are 33. The motion to concur with an amendment is agreed to.
More than a dozen Senate Republicans joining Democrats in passing the bill. The legislation now headed to the House for an expected vote today, spurred by calls for action after recent mass shootings in Buffalo and Uvalde. But hours earlier in Washington, the Supreme Court delivering a stinging defeat for gun safety advocates. In a landmark 6-3 decision, the justices striking down New York's century-old gun law, which required anyone seeking a license to carry a concealed handgun show they have a special need for it. New York lawmakers swiftly denouncing the ruling.
This decision isn't just reckless, it's reprehensible. It's not what New Yorkers want.
The NRA calls this a landmark win for Second Amendment rights. This decision could impact 7 other states that have gun laws similar to New York's. Those states, including New York, are home to 80 million Americans. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
We started running inside. Everyone was screaming and crying. I don't want to remember what happened, so I try to forget it.
And ahead in our next half hour of GMSA, our team sat down with a little girl who was at Robb Elementary on the day of that horrific shooting. We're going to hear her incredible survival story.
Well, new this morning, cleanup underway after a house fire just north of downtown. It happened yesterday on Duffield Street near East Fredericksburg and I-10. That's where crews say people were burning trash in their front yard when it spread to the home. Crews were able to get the flames knocked out quickly. We're told no one was hurt and the house was boarded up and abandoned.
In your morning consumer headlines, more discouraging news for would-be home buyers. Mortgage rates rising again this week. A 30-year loan inching up to 5.8%. The average 15-year rate rising to 4.9%. This after last week's huge rate jump, the largest in 35 years.
Commercials, they're coming to Netflix. That's according to co-CEO Ted Sarandos, confirms that the streaming company is speaking to possible business partners for an ad-supported version of its platform. The Wall Street Journal reporting those include Comcast, NBC Universal, and Google. Ted Sarandos says he wants the Netflix ad experience to be more integrated and less interruptive than traditional TV advertising.
Will there be a price drop as well?
Well, I hope so. All right, 6:11 and 76 degrees.
And much more to come on GMSA, including the latest on a massive fire that's already burned through hundreds of acres in Northern California.
Also ahead, it's been a year since that deadly condo collapse in southern Florida. We'll show you how the community has come together.
And taking a look outside with live cam. Pretty shot out there. We're starting at 76 degrees and things will warm up again and again this weekend. However, we are looking forward to a break next week. We'll be right back.
Well, now to South Florida, where people came together in the early hours this morning to mark a solemn anniversary.
A building collapsed on the beach that would change their lives forever. ABC's Andrew Dimpert has more.
This morning marks 1 year since the tragic condo collapse in Surfside, Florida. And overnight, where the 12-story Champlain Towers South once stood, a vigil held for the 98 souls lost that night. It's left a lasting trauma for the victims' families and loved ones.
We're still struggling. I'm still having nightmares.
Pablo Rodriguez lost his mother and grandmother. His family still coping with an enormity of grief, his young son growing up and marking milestones like birthdays without them.
He's still sad. He talks about them often.
Gonzalo and Maria Torres fell in love in the 1960s. Cuban immigrants who owned and operated a local hotel, they called the Champlain Towers home for nearly 40 years, not knowing it's where they'd spend their final moments beneath the rubble. Their grandson Nick carries on their memory.
There's a lot of great memories there.
And still, there are stories of heroism from that day. The first responders and the relentless effort to find survivors. 15-year-old Jonah was pulled from the debris pile, badly wounded, but alive. As he started to heal in the following months, support flooded in. Jonah meeting the people who saved him, even throwing out the first pitch at a Marlins game. But the emotional scars linger.
Every time the thunder goes, for him, it's the building collapsing.
And now some financial relief for the family still reeling from the devastating loss. This morning, 1 year after the tragedy, a judge has finalized a $1.2 billion settlement for the families, calling it remarkable. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Backyard home still not looking good at 35 at Kohlenberg Road. You can see that traffic remains at a standstill. The only difference really now that we are seeing is that it looks a little brighter out there. But unfortunately for drivers, hopefully they have their patience with their coffee this morning, because it is basically like the one lane of traffic is frozen, or 3 lanes of traffic, I should say, are frozen while we're seeing the southbound lanes moving. So this is a crash that we've been watching closely for at least half an hour now, and it has not gotten any better. We're not sure if the drivers involved face any injuries. We're hoping everybody's okay, but right now traffic not looking too good out there. This is in the northbound lanes again near Kohlenberg Road. This is north of New Braunfels, and I've been looking at some alternative routes for you. This is one that I'm just going to suggest. Exit FM 1103 if you're traveling off I-35 northbound trying to get to San Marcos or Austin. Now you're going to take a few back roads, and some of these I've never even heard of before, but to left onto Watson Lane, then you're going to take a right onto Sochting Lane and a left onto York Creek. You'll hit the frontage road there and avoid a lot of that those delays that we're seeing on TransGuide, but it is going to take some time before first responders clear up. So let's just hope that this will be wrapping up pretty soon. But over here back in town, 410 southbound at Marbach Road, we still have that water main break along the frontage road where the Marbach Road exit is also closed. But it does look like crews should be wrapping up pretty soon, and that is the good news there. But as we get the wide look at the map, thankfully not a whole lot else to talk about. We did have another crash that just cleared out, but the big issue is going to be right here where things seem not to be moving at all. But we'll have more updates here on GMSA, guys.
Thank you, Stephen. Hey, Mike. Okay, so you've been showing us pictures and video all morning, and you probably can't see it anymore because the sun's out, but we have some photos,
Yeah,
correct?
we've got some photos and some videos of the planetary alignment. You can still see, at least I checked about 10 minutes ago, Venus, the moon, a little bit of Mars and Jupiter. Saturn you can't see either, and Mercury I think is down too low. But I'm going to show you that in just 1 second. First of all, as far as temperatures right now, well, my little whoop-de-doo machine's not working here, so let's just go right to the video. And I'm going to show you some of the planets that have been, this is video from one of our photographers here, and there is Venus down to the lower left, and then that's the moon right there. And then as you look up, there's Venus, the moon. You can faintly see,
Is that Saturn?
Well, you can faintly see Mars, and then that is Jupiter right there. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Very
I've got
cool.
another picture that a viewer sent in, and this one, there you can see Venus, the moon, there's Mars, and there's Jupiter, and Saturn was further off to the east. You could see it before the sun started coming up, and Mercury was a lot closer to the horizon. Now the sun is up, and you won't be able to see that now. So thank you very much for the picture there. That was very cool. And this will not happen with the planets in the exact order, and the moon kind of filling in for the Earth right in between Venus and Mars won't happen until 2040. So hopefully you got a chance to see it this morning. All right, we've got a lot of clear skies out there, obviously, so we lucked out as far as the morning cloud cover to be able to see the planets. And temperatures are in the mid and upper 70s right now, and once that sun comes up, it's going to be warming up very quickly, obviously. Going to make it all the way up through the mid and upper 80s by mid to late morning. 92 at noon. Normal high is 93. Just to kind of put it in perspective, so add almost 10 degrees to that. We're going to be up to 101 later on today, and we are going to be seeing even hotter temperatures this weekend. So here's what's going to be happening this weekend. We've had this high in place, and it's going to stay in place for the next couple of days. This is pushing down in the atmosphere. This is what is basically causing our heat wave that we've been in forever, it seems like. That's going to finally work its way off to the west a bit more, and the high pressure center, the Bermuda high as we call it, over closer to the island of Bermuda, is going to start to really kind of the center is going to move off here to the east. And so what that will do is, first of all, with the high that moves off to the west, that allows that front to kind of slide down in here. And that's what's going to give us the rain chances by the first part of next week. And then with this high off here to the east, hopefully, and we get these little waves, we call them easterly waves, hopefully some of those start to come in here as well, which with this configuration helps to keep temperatures down and also keeps a slight rain chance around. So I'm kind of being optimistic, thinking even rain chances left over into Thursday of next week. 92 degrees today at noon, mostly sunny skies, high temperature 101 today. Yep, going to be another just scorcher. And the broiler gets cranked up a couple of notches going into the weekend, up to 102. Then we start to see some rain chances, some rain around here Monday. Temperatures stay down with this front lying in the area, so that and the cloud cover is going to help to keep temperatures down. 93 on Monday, about a 30% chance for some rain, especially later in the day. And then that's going to carry over into Tuesday. Hard pressed to get out of the 80s on Tuesday. Actually, some computer models have us much, much lower than that. I just can't buy into it in the middle of June yet, but awesome. Still rain chances then Wednesday, and I think a couple leftovers on Thursday too, but an overall change in the pattern that we're in right now. So that's good news.
I like that the chances have gone up because like in the beginning of the week, it was maybe what, 20% on Tuesday?
It was still, 7, 8, 9 days away. So things have been very consistent from earlier in the week, and we just continue to watch the models as we get even closer. So, but it's encouraging.
All right, let's get through the weekend for some cooler temps. Thanks, Mike. 623 and 76 degrees.
And still ahead on GMSA, we're going to introduce you to the Spurs' new players after they were selected in last night's NBA draft. Get ready, Spurs fans. The Silver and Black are welcoming some new players to the family following last night's NBA draft.
And that list of new players includes one just from up the road.
There you go, Pop. Here's Jeremy.
Hello, Coach. How we doing? Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Exciting time. So that's Jeremy Sohan. That's the first conversation that he had with five-time NBA champion head coach Greg Popovich after the Spurs used their highest pick since Tim Duncan to select the Baylor freshman with the 9th overall pick in the NBA draft.
He was born in Oklahoma, but spent most of his life in England before playing for the Baylor Bears. He worked out for the Spurs before he was selected last night. He was also on the all Big 12 freshman team at Baylor this past season.
And with the 20th overall pick, the Spurs select guard Malachi Brenham out of Ohio State. The Big Ten freshman of the year averaged 13.7 points, 2 assists, and 3.6 rebounds.
And with their final pick in the first round at number 25 overall, the Spurs picked Blake Wesley out of Notre Dame, and we can't wait to get to know all of our new players.
Exciting time for Spurs fans, and welcome to the San Antonio Spurs.
Yes, go Spurs, go.
All right, it is 626 and 76 degrees.
We have a lot more to come up in our next half hour, including this massive python found in the Florida swamps. You're not going to believe how much it weighs.
Even if they can't, I will still try to live to my fullest.
This little girl is one of the survivors of the deadly Robb Elementary shooting. She's going to tell us about what happened while she was at school on that horrible day.
Well, it's cool now, 76 degrees at 6:30 this morning. Will it be day 20 of triple-digit heat? Mike will let us know in just a bit. But good morning. We've made it to Friday. Happy Friday. It's June 24th.
Thanks for joining us today. Yes, happy Friday. I think we're going to, keep climbing on those triple digits.
Another one. Let's do it again.
However, there's good news, right, Mike?
I'll let them be the bearer of bad news as far as the number of days. Yeah, we've hit 19 so far this year. And today will be number 20. And 21, 22 over the weekend. And as Steph was alluding to, yes, we do have some good news on the horizon. One day closer to starting that finally a change in the overall pattern that we've been just sitting in forever, it seems like. A lot of clear skies. Hopefully you had a chance to see the planetary alignment earlier this morning with them all lined up in order. 77 degrees right now. Dew point stands at 70, so that number is up by about 5-6 degrees compared to this time yesterday. So, It's going to greet you as you open up the door and head outside. Wind out of the south primarily, about 5-10 miles per hour. As far as heat index, yep, feels a little bit warmer than the actual air temperature. 80 Canyon Lake, 79 out there at the airport, and 75 at both Stinson and Randolph. And we do have a low amount of mold in the atmosphere. So humidity is up compared to yesterday after it went down from the previous day, and then mostly sunny skies. This will be day number 20 that we have hit triple-digit temperatures. It's going to be a sizzler out there, and it's even going to be hotter this weekend, 102 both tomorrow as well as Sunday. Then come Monday, we start to see those improving rain chances, decent on Monday and definitely improving going into Tuesday. And yes, I am using the word cooler. Temperatures are going to be down in the mid-lower 90s and maybe even not getting out of the 80s one day next week. We'll get it all sorted out, all the details in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, Stephen, what's going on?
There's really not been a whole lot that's changed here from the shot, Mike, at TransGuide 35 at Kohlenberg. We've been showing you the shot now for probably about an hour. Let's go ahead and bring you in. Again, not much has changed. What we are seeing, the only difference now, it's just getting brighter, and traffic along those southbound lanes of 35 seem to be moving without any trouble. But the big issue is going to be in those northbound lanes. So anybody that is traveling up north of New Braunfels, make sure you pack your patience. All right, 35 northbound at Kohlenberg is where that crash we initially reported it. Now, it looks like it could be a little bit further up along 35, but that is the closest shot that we can get to the situation right now. We'll talk to our friends at TransGuide a little bit later, but you can see that buildup just continuing to stretch. Here's another detour. Get on a Loop 337 and onto Common Street and just take FM 1102. You'll continue to take that route until you hit J.C. Riley Street. Take a right there, and then you'll hit the I-35 northbound Axis Road. But we are seeing some yellow along those back roads as well, so just keep that in mind. Maybe people are trying to find a different route. Let's take a drive back here to the west side of San Antonio, where we have a water main break that still remains. Now, we are seeing crews still out there, but it does appear that they are clearing that scene up. But again, that was reported at least 13 hours ago. Loop 410 southbound and Marbach Road, that frontage road is closed off as they are getting things situated there. Now, let's get a wide look at the metro area. Nothing else to talk about, thankfully, so we can breathe a sigh of relief elsewhere. But the big problem is going to be here at 35. Hopefully we'll have some updates, better updates, I should say, before the show wraps up. But for now, just again, pack that patience. Steph, Sarah?
Thank you, Stephen. We have back to that late breaking news. People in a West Side neighborhood had found themselves in the middle of a disturbing mystery. San Antonio police are trying to figure out who shot and killed a man just steps from their home.
This happened in the 300 block of South San Dario. Katrina Weber is there live. And Katrina, we can see police have wrapped up the investigation. Are there any closer to making an arrest?
Not as far as we know. It seems that all they have is the little bit of physical evidence they found here, shell casings, but they were still trying to get information to determine who shot this man and why. We have video to show you. This happened a little bit after 3:30 this morning. Police say a neighbor called them after hearing the gunshots and then looking outside and seeing that man down on the ground. Police and paramedics arrived here. They found out that that man had been shot several times in his upper body and he was dead. They say that he appears to be in his 40s. He was on a bicycle, apparently, but they don't know anything else about him, whether he actually lives in this area or not. They also, again, don't have any clues as to who shot him or why this happened. But police did have this area shut down as they collected that evidence, and then they just opened this area up probably about 15 minutes ago without making any arrests. Reporting live on the west side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. Today, Uvalde CISD plans to hold its graduation for the class of 2022. It was postponed until this evening at Honey Bowl Stadium. The school district says the ceremony is optional during this difficult time, and the ceremony is private, but it will also be live streamed on the district's website.
And happening tomorrow, the final funeral service for the victims at Robb Elementary School shooting. Services will be held for Ucia Garcia tomorrow at 10 in the morning in San Angelo. His family remembers him as a loving, sweet, outgoing, energetic, smart child. And a 10-year-old survivor of the Robb Elementary School shooting is sharing her story of the day that changed her life forever.
Is it hard to remember everything that happened that day?
Yeah. Because I don't want to remember what happened, so I try to forget it.
Aurelia Santos was on the playground for an early recess on May 24th when suddenly they were told to run inside. She says a shooter crashed a truck and shot at them before they ran inside.
Santos and her classmates hid in a classroom trying to stay quiet. It's something past lockdown drills had taught them. Now, once they were evacuated out of the school and reunited with their families, she learned with the rest of the world that 19 of her classmates and 2 teachers were killed that day, including her best friend, Anne-Marie Jo Garza.
I went to Anne-Marie's viewing and her casket was closed, so I know something bad must have happened.
Now, Santos says she is upset with police about their response, saying they should have done something to save her friends. She also says she doesn't want the school demolished, explaining she has good memories at Robb Elementary.
Mayor Don McLaughlin said at a city council meeting that the school would be demolished. And Jackie Casares is one of the victims in that shooting. Her loved ones say she was always trying to help those in need, and now her family is trying to do the same for her by speaking up.
Her 17-year-old sister, Jasmine Casares, traveled to Austin to testify before lawmakers. She wanted to be a voice for Jackie and her cousin, Annabelle Rodriguez, who was also killed in the shooting. She pleaded for stronger gun laws and improved school security.
And yesterday, the Senate pushed a gun reform measure forward. Texas Senator John Cornyn was in favor, while Senator Ted Cruz was not. The measure would toughen background checks for the youngest gun buyers, keep firearms away, more difficult for domestic violence offenders, and help states enforce existing red flag laws. But it is worth noting that Texas does not have a red flag law. The bill now goes to the House for a vote before it can head to the president's desk. And new this morning, San Antonio police say a woman is in the hospital following a head-on collision on the city's northwest side overnight. It happened just after 11 p.m. in the 5200 block of De Zavala near Vance Jackson. SAPD says the woman was driving her vehicle when she crashed head-on into another car in a turning lane on De Zavala. Police say a man driving the second car initially got off and ran, allegedly ditching a weapon and cash, and walked back to the scene. Officers assessed him for a possible DWI. Charges are pending at this time. So meanwhile, the woman was taken to the hospital with a broken leg.
And happening right now in California, several wildfires are raging out of control. This is a massive brush fire in Livermore that's on the edge of the San Francisco Bay Area. Now, so far, the flames have burned more than 300 acres, and it's only 10% contained. Right now, there are 5 other wildfires burning in California.
Well, if snakes make you squeamish, this story is not for you. It took 3 people in Florida to carry out this massive Burmese python, the heaviest ever captured in the Sunshine State. Wow, just look at that video. The female python weighed 215 pounds and nearly 18 feet long. Ooh, that's kind of scary. Oh my gosh, get this. So her last meal, you can see right there in that video, it was apparently a bobcat, and that's why it was removed. Conservationists are trying to protect the native wildlife land and water. Wow.
Kind of scary.
Terrifying.
Time now 6:40 and 76 degrees for now.
In your GMA First Look, airport shortages, they continue across the country. United Airlines is cutting about 50 flights a day out of New York, New Jersey to help reduce delays this summer. That's coming up at 7 a.m. right here on KSAT 12. Plus, we all know the San Antonio Zoo train is a treasure to Brackenridge Park and our city. Coming up, we introduce you to a longtime conductor who has helped keep that magic alive.
And welcome back at 6:43. The San Antonio Zoo train has been chugging around Brackenridge Park since 1956 and has become a treasure to our city.
Absolutely. But one of the conductors behind our city gem is another treasure. Her name is Retta Minnis, and she has been driving the train for 15 years. I spoke with her about what makes our train so magical. Before the San Antonio Zoo train starts its daily trips around Brackenridge Park, conductor Retta Minnis takes us through her prep routine for the CW2 Express.
Let it warm up a little bit. And then we also walk the train.
She blows the leaves off the track.
Here we are. Yeah.
Yes.
As you can tell, she loves her new electric blower over the old heavy gas one.
Yeah, see, it looks fine. Yeah. All right, here we go.
And then it's go time.
Attention, please. The train is getting ready to leave the station. Hit the button to move the gates down. Honk the horn to let people know we're coming. And here we go.
Always with her red bow in place, Retta has been doing this for 15 years, or as she likes to say,
19,000 trips, 38,000 miles. That's larger than the circumference of the Earth. So I'm on my second time around this my world tour.
She started as a conductor after she retired from her state job of 30 years.
I never particularly cared for office work.
She knew she wanted to do something completely different.
This is as different as it gets.
A friend recommended she work at the zoo, and there just happened to be an opening for train conductors.
The minute I stepped foot inside that roundhouse, I felt right at home. I knew I had found my niche.
If you couldn't tell, Retta loves her job.
This puts you in a different frame of mind, and it's a happy thing. Everybody on it is happy, and you're driving it and you're happy. It's just a great thing.
She says part of what makes the San Antonio Zoo train so special is the nostalgia.
And I'll be talking to the passengers, and they'll be saying, you know, I came down here and rode this when I was a child with my mother or grandmother, and it brings back wonderful memories.
Retta says as she is getting older, she keeps telling herself that she'll start working less days a week. But she knows it's the train's magic that keeps her inner child alive.
I know that on the outside I'm pretty darn old now, but on the inside I'm still young. And I think this is part of the reason. You know, every day, you know, is just, you know, happy. And I feel young, and I talk with people from all over the world and children and so forth.
It really is a happy place. You know, I wanted to do this story. We've had such hard news lately, and I was like, I love the train. It truly is a treasure to our city, but I think Retta is another kind of hidden gem in our city as well.
Yeah, we love her story. I'm glad I'm glad you caught her, and I'm sure so it's fun for the passengers also, but it's fun for people like just walking by as well. I mean, when we see a train, we're like, hey.
And she said the rule is if the train passes, you know, you wave and the passengers in the train wave.
Aww.
We're going to wave over to Stephen Cavazos, though.
Well, it's a happy story, but can't say the same here at 35 at Kohlenberg. I'm feeling the pain for these drivers right now. Not much has changed as we bring you in from TransGuide. Traffic has stayed at a standstill for at least over an hour now, but we're going to take you to the map because that is in the northbound lanes there off 35 where we continue to see that stretch building. But TransGuide, TxDOT, I should say, has listed that area closed as of right now due to that major crash. Quick detour, exit Loop 3037 at Common Street and just continue to take FM 1102. It may take a little bit longer, but I think it beats sitting in that traffic that we just saw on TransGuide. Taking a quick drive back here to town, a crash off Loop 410 westbound at Broadway Street just came in. We're going to have to watch that area closely, but the wide look at the map does show that the majority of San Antonio is still pretty quiet, but we still have that water main break that crews are at over off Loop 410 on the west side of San Antonio, Mike.
Very much, sir. I did think about that train, how many times when my boys were little that we rode on that thing. Just dozens and dozens. They loved it. So did we. So thank you. That was a great story, Sarah. Boy, you want something to do this weekend? Join this lady. Look at that. A little bit of shade, nice cool drink, wading in the cool water. Doesn't get any better than that. Thank you very much for the KSAT Connect picture. You just find an inflatable and just float away. So we've got a lot of clear skies this morning, and it was clear enough to see the planetary alignment. By the way, so far 14 days in the month of June have hit triple-digit temperatures, and with the forecast, we are going to be hitting it again today, tomorrow, as well as on Sunday. And 14 days, that is the most ever since records have been kept going back into the late 1800s. It has definitely been a hot, hot month, but we've got a break at least coming up here next week. Not today though, because temperatures will continue to soar up through the 80s, 92 already at noon. 93 is the normal average high temperature, and then we're going to be topping off at 101, so make it 15 days for the month of June, 20 for the year so far. And like I said, we're going to add to that going into the weekend. Now, after the weekend, on Monday, we do have the rain chances. We've got a front which is going to be lying across the area, and kind of an unusual summertime front, but it is going to be enough to give us the chance for some rain for the first couple of days. Now, it's not going to be raining constantly or everybody seeing rain at the same time, but at least those rain chances are going to be existing in through Tuesday, going into Wednesday. And what's also interesting is, even once we get into, at least with this computer model, Thursday and then on Friday, watch as I put this into motion, how by Friday we get the flow coming in here off of the Gulf of Mexico. So that's also another good indication of the overall pattern change that, you know, we've been stuck in forever, it seems like, but that's finally, like I said, going to be just a fond memory now. 92 degrees today at noon, mostly sunny skies, 101 for a high temperature today. It is going to be another sizzler, and yeah, find the floaty in the river, cool beverage. That's what you need this weekend, but decent rain chances, much lower temperatures by next week. So yay for that. Ladies.
Very excited about that.
Thank you, Mike. All right, it is 6:50 and 76 degrees.
LinkedIn is a professional networking tool for employers to find new hires. However, what you put there could have a big impact. Tomorrow on GMSA, what mistakes you may be making on LinkedIn that could cost you the job.
Taking a look outside with live cam. The sun is up, 75 degrees. If you have things to do outside today, do them now. It's going to be another scorcher like Mike has been saying. We'll have another quick weather and traffic before we go.
Trilogy for COPD.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a
COPD may have gotten you here, but you decide what's next. Start a new day with Trilogy. No once daily COPD medicine has the power to treat COPD in as many ways as Trilogy. With 3 medicines in 1 inhaler, Trilogy helps people breathe easier and improves lung function. It also helps prevent future flare-ups. Trilogy won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Do not take Trilogy more than prescribed. Trilogy may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur. Take a stand and start a new day with Trilogy. Ask your doctor about once daily Trilogy and save at Trilogy.com.
Time now 6:55. Let's get another look here at 35. This is going to be the big talking point this morning. We have a crash that has caused this area to lead to a closure out in that section of northbound. You can see right there that traffic has just continued to build, and it is not looking good. We have been looking for those alternative routes, and I'll continue to look for those as the morning does go on. But also a crash over here at 410 westbound at Broadway Street, and a quick look where we still have crews over off of Loop 410 southbound at Marbach Road due to a water main break. It has been a pretty busy morning, but we'll be on and giving you guys those updates as the morning does go on, Mike.
Thank you, sir. Lots of clear skies this morning, beautiful sunshine, and it's going to be a hot one. We're at 76 degrees right now. That's what it feels like out there. We do have some humidity to deal with, and then 92 at noon, 101 for a high temperature later on today, and we're going to continue to rack up a couple of more triple digits. Even hotter this weekend. The broiler is going to be on high, but then we do have some decent rain chances, lower temperatures to start off next week.
We look forward to that.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike. Hey, it's been fun. Female Friday.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Thank you guys for joining us as well. We'll see you back here at 9.